Hello, everyone. I'd like to talk today about your climate. The Earth's climate is in a lot of people's minds these days. And I was reminded about this earlier today when it occurred to me the distinction between climate and weather. Right. So climate is the long-term weather conditions in a particular area. What do we expect? Here in Britain in winter. Right, we expect a lot of rain. we expect some snow up in the northern part of the country. That's obviously very different. If I were living in Abu Dhabi, it would be a different picture. That's not to say that we don't have weather, right? That's not to say that we don't have days where it's actually quite warm here in the winter. But the climate is the way that the words that came to mind for me were it's the planet's standards for weather in a particular area. Okay, is kind of what climate is. And the way that this, I think, applies to the work that we do in getting things done is, I think there's a really interesting question around what is the climate for you? What are your standards? And we can change our personal climate. We can change our standards. What does good look like for you when it comes to the execution of your projects? When you think about what we call the areas of focus and responsibility, these ongoing things that you're responsible for, what are your standards as far as those are concerned? A lot of us have, for example, at least implied, if we haven't explicitly, made ourselves conscious of it, we have an ongoing responsibility for our own professional development. Well, what's your climate around that? What is your standard around all that? And you might want to think about this. Again, something else that got me going on this topic the other day was I was reading a quote from somebody who said that, listen, over the long run, the people who are the most successful are the people who stay hungry. And what occurred to me there was, there can be an awful lot of us, and I'll put my hand up too and say, sometimes it's worth reminding myself of the fact that how hungry I am, in a sense, is down to me. It's down to my own determination, my own standards, my own climate. So again, just with maybe some practical thoughts about how this might relate to your GTD work. When it comes to defining your projects, ask yourself the question: are my projects, if I look at the description of my projects, are they projects that inspire? Or are they just sort of, I've got a new car, right? That might be a project. Well, how about I've got a car that is fun to drive. I've got a sound system which allows me to enjoy all of my favorite sounds, whether it's music or news or whatever it is. And let's say the neighbors are jealous. Okay, so there you go. So that would be another picture of success for a project like that. So I'm reminded of when I was getting certified as a GTD trainer all those years ago. Wayne Pepper, the guy who trained me to be a trainer, used to talk about in his seminars. He used to say, "Listen, if you drop your standards, you'll have less to do." And the example that he gave in his seminars he says, "Listen, go home tonight and say to your children, if you've got kids, say to your children, okay, kids, from now on, we're going to be really, really lousy parents. We're not going to go to every one of your parent-teacher nights. We're not going to go to all your sporting events. We're not going to go to all of your school plays. We're going to be lousy parents." And on the one hand, it got a laugh, of course, but on the other hand, I think for a lot of people, the light bulb went off that said, well, they would have less to do then. So ultimately, the question really is, what are your standards? What is your climate? And how are you using the thinking that you're doing about your world as reflected in your GTD system? How are you using that thinking to ensure that your standards imply, your climate implies the right level of hunger for you. Hope that's helpful. As always, please, if there's anything that any of us here at Next Action Associates can do to help you on your GTD journey, please do let us know, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Bye for now.